So here you can see the impact that the straightforward and familiar architecture of PlayStation 4 has had on Time to Triangle. It's basically back to where it was on PlayStation 1. It's great to be able to leverage the fact that almost all third-party teams already have a sophisticated graphics engine that runs on PCs. And the familiar architecture has also been of great benefit to indie developers. Not only are titles much easier to bring to PlayStation 4, but conceptually driven titles can be created on PlayStation 4 without any significant time spent on studying the tech details of the platform. Now, as I said earlier, we've also worked hard to ensure that the console has a rich feature set, which will allow it to grow over the years and support the overall evolution of gaming. And our work there on that rich feature set focused on making sure that for those teams that were interested in investing the time, the GPU could be used for far more than conventional graphics. Principally, we enhanced the GPU to make the use of asynchronous fine-grained compute practical on the platform. So the asynchronous refers to how the GPU will be doing many tasks not directly related to graphics. Physics simulation, collision detection, raycasting for audio, decompression, and the like. And these operations are fine-grained, meaning that there will be many small world simulation tasks running on the GPU simultaneously, alongside rendering of the game scenes. So the concept is that as game developers learn to use these techniques later on in the console lifecycle, we'll see richer and even more interactive worlds. Of course, there's a lot more that goes into a game console than just the CPU, the GPU, and the system memory. There are a great number of decisions that need to be made regarding hardware, system software, and the larger user experience that surrounds the games. Part of our strategy for reconciling the many differing opinions in these areas has been to adopt a fundamentally developer-driven process. What that means is that when there are important decisions that need to be made, we run them by our collaborators in first and third party. Even when opinions seem unanimous internally, I still tend to give presentations to the game teams explaining the rationale for the decisions we're making. Now, I'm sure you're hearing this and you're thinking that talking to developers and listening to their feedback sounds pretty simple, but the truth is it's quite a bit more complex than that. The first reason is that the people you want to be talking to are the best of the best, the lead engineers at world-class companies such as EA, Ubisoft, Rockstar, Activision, Capcom, and the like. And in order to be able to have sustained conversations with these busy people, you have to demonstrate that your technical understanding is of a comparable level to theirs. So part of our strategy here was to prepare extraordinarily detailed presentations. That's where we show our passion for technology and our expertise. And doing all of that preparation also helps address another issue, which is that you don't ever want to be in a position of not being able to answer a question. Then you need to get on the road with your 500 PowerPoint slides and do that 8-hour presentation for the developers, which I've done, for example, in the summer, in Tokyo, in Japanese, in a room with no air conditioning, standing up and holding a heavy microphone. Your whole body aches the next day. And then you have to be prepared for any reaction at all. I wasn't there for the famous meeting when one of our developers said, if the PlayStation 4 doesn't have 8 gigabytes of memory, then Sony is dead. But I have flown thousands of miles to get booed by the audience in the middle of a presentation. It's tough, but it's eye-opening too. That is the sort of passion that lets us know when we're on the wrong track and need to come up with a new direction. So the payoff is huge for doing things this way. Just to give one example, the hard drive in every PlayStation 4 is great for downloaded content, but more specifically what it's doing is enabling the developer dream of living software, where every time you return to the game, there's something new to experience, new places in the world to explore, new missions, and so on. Without actively and continuously soliciting developer feedback, we'd never have understood where the game creators will be taking their titles in the next decade. So I'd like to leave you with a few thoughts. The first is that if you want to know what I'll be doing in 5 years' time, don't ask me, ask Shu Yoshida. It's all part of his master plan. The reason there's a game developer deep within the hardware team is that Shu had the patience and the foresight to make it happen. And finally, the Three Musketeers are back. Andrew House was appointed president of SCE in 2011. And one of the small results of that, but huge for me, was that it provided a further boost to the engagement, the policies of engagement with game developers around the world. I have a great friend who lives in Kyoto in the eastern part of Japan. He runs a developer there, and he's worked with both Sony Computer Entertainment and Nintendo over the years. And he says that what he respects the most about Nintendo is the incredible continuity that they have in the form of a core group of individuals that has now worked together for over 30 years. Well, we on the PlayStation side of the business have only about 20 years together now, but I'm really looking forward to the next decade or two with Shu, Andy, and the other amazing talents of Sony Computer Entertainment. And I think by the end of it, we'll even have my friend in Kyoto telling everyone how our values, held strongly over a great period of time, had such an influence over the world.